Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Make It Simple TV. Now, this is the show where both my co-host and myself bring in our inner circle of experts from all over the world to share 3 simple tips with you on how to improve your life and business. And also, you're left feeling very inspired. So, welcome back to the show. Here is my co-host, Andrew McCauley.
Hey Heather, how are you? Great to be on the show. We have a very special guest coming from New York today, so woohoo! So we're excited about finding out a little bit about her and what she's done, and we have lots of stories that we may or may not have time for today. So looking forward to the show again.
I know we have a big history with this lovely guest. I have known her for years and years. Gosh, over, I don't even know now, probably over 12, 14 years, something like that. But we're so excited to welcome Bonnie Bruderer to the show. Now, she's the creator and founder of Be the One Coaching and Training. She is a serial entrepreneur and has been behind many different companies, including one of my favorites that she's currently working on called Dirty Dog. She has appeared on Fox and NBC TV on numerous occasions and has helped leading organizations such as Anthony Robbins, Ticketmaster, City Search, and Active Networks achieve significantly higher levels of revenues and success. Welcome to the show, Bonnie.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure to be here and be with you both.
We're so excited to have you back. So now, Bonnie, here's how we love to start the show. We like to hear about your journey because, boy, don't you have one. So please tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in Chelsea in New York doing what you're doing right now.
All right. So how much time do I have? That's a big question. How far back should I go?
Give us a little snapshot around, because I met you working with Tony Robbins. And then we've traveled around the world a bit with Andrew as well. So what was that whole event side of yourself, and then how have you gotten to where you are now?
All right. Well, let me give you the nutshell version. So at 23 years old, I went through a very difficult time in my life, and things weren't going very well. And my boyfriend at the time introduced me to Tony Robbins. So I went to a seminar. It was kind of my gateway drug. I was hooked. I thought it was the most amazing thing in the world that you could just set a goal, take action, and actually achieve it. I, for whatever reason, had no concept that that could even occur before that. So fast forward, I ended up working for Tony Robbins, where I met you. I started back in the 90s, but I think we met around 2000-ish, somewhere around there. And I was involved with that organization for over 10 years from various capacities, from working in the office. I was on the MESS team, which is a team that tours with him on the road. I did some production. I lived in Fiji. Ran the health clinic over there, did some training on nutrition. So very well-rounded. And during that period of time, what's great, as you both know, is when you're touring with a speaker like that, you have a lot of time off. So during my time off, I got to travel the world. But one thing, since I'm a lifelong learner, I constantly went back to school. I constantly went back and got different certifications, life coaching, NLP, hypnotherapy. And so I started to write books, and did this while I was traveling. I've authored 3 different books, and actually one that I ghost wrote, and have multiple audio programs. And then eventually left Tony Robbins in 2006 and went to work for another company that we all work for, Christopher Howard Training. And the 3 of us got to tour together, which was so much fun. And that was a company that teaches hypnotherapy, life coaching, and neurolinguistic programming. So did that for 2.5 years, ran the events in North America, which nearly killed me. It's a very stressful job, but a lot of fun at the same time, learned a lot. And then with the downturn of the economy in 2008, you're laughing because you know it's true. Poor Andrew has never seen anyone so stressed out in his life, probably. But after the downturn of the economy, I went out on my own, and I consulted for various speakers and authors, and really worked for 4 or 5 different speakers. And then the last couple of years, I've been working for Harvey McKay, who is best known for Swim with the Sharks. I ran a very elite mastermind group for him with 35 CEOs from across the nation. And I did that until, gosh, about a year ago. And 2 years ago, during all this, because again, we have a lot of downtime, I ended up having this wild hair. I woke up at 3:30 in the morning on my 40th birthday in a panic, because I decided that it was time for me to move to New York. I had always wanted to move there. I was afraid that window was going to close. And so I woke up in the morning, put my place on Craigslist. Within 8 weeks, I was in New York. So quite a crazy journey. I had no man, no job, no plan. Moved in the worst winter they've ever seen. In the first 3 days, we don't need to get into this story. You can bring me back for another show. But in the first three days, I witnessed a murder. There were 2 suicide jumpings, and I got robbed of everything I owned. So it was a very rude welcome. But everyone kept asking me, "Why did you stay? Why? Like, how could you stay after all that happened?" Plus, I lived with a interesting person, and so all of these things were happening in my life. But I said, you know what's worse than all of that happening is going back after 1 week after you've declared this big move across the nation with all of those things happening. So I just stayed, and I bought some new things because I had nothing, so I was robbed. And then I eventually decided that it was time for me to really follow my passion once and for all, and commit to doing coaching and training, which is what I really love and what my heart is, full time. So I just put it out there. I figured out a way to make it happen, and it's been incredibly well received. I'm actually overbooked now. I have about a 2-week waiting list, and I work a couple days a week down on Wall Street. I work for a very high-powered global securities company, and I coach some of their brokers and trainers and partners, and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun to take these skills and everything that we know and take it into a new market, new industry.
Hey, that's pretty awesome story, Bonnie. I love it, and I've been following you for the last 8 years and sort of keeping up with where you're going. And you've always sort of been involved with coaching as well. You've written books, which I don't think we mentioned that at the top of the show, but you've also written books about coaching and stuff like that as well. Hey, just for people out there, as far as coaching goes, are the problems different for higher end people than they are for, say, people that don't work in Wall Street or a solopreneur? Is there a difference in the problems, do you see, or is it sort of similar sort of things that happen across the board, whether you're super successful or not?
That's a really great question. So I actually just did a training on this morning because I coach 3 different brackets of people within that organization. I coach people that just passed their Series 7 and are brand new to the market. I coach people that have been doing it for a while, and then I coach the partners who have been doing it for 10 years plus. And I told the new guys, I said, let me tell you a little secret. What I'm working on with you guys is the same thing that I'm working on with this tier. And their jaws dropped. Like, they couldn't believe that these guys have the same situations and issues. And it's the same for the private practice. I can work with a 14-year-old kid, real story, and his lack of motivation is exactly the same as the partner in the firm, or anyone else for that matter. So although the actual details may show up a little bit differently, you may be scraping to pay your rent if your finances are an issue, or you may be scraping to raise $1 million, in order to make a trade. But literally, the steps you go through, the feelings that you have internally, it's the same process. So what's great about that is it's the same solution, too. And that's what I love about coaching, is being able to help people that think these problems are Herculean, but really, it's quite simple when you break it down.
Yeah, I sort of knew the answer to that, but I wanted to just see from your experience, too, because I know that it certainly is a problem but a lot of people don't understand that until they actually meet somebody like you who's actually involved with doing different coachings on different levels, and the truth is that your problems are the same as whether you're successful or not. So sometimes that's a good thing to know, and other times it's like, wow, you mean I'm going to still have the same problems when I get so super successful? That's going to be a problem for me down the track. So yeah. So what's one tool or resource that you can't live without?
So this is a bit of a cheaty answer, but I couldn't live without the internet. Every morning I wake up and I turn on my computer and I put on either a TED Talk. Right now I'm obsessed with Marie Forleo, I think her name is. I always have some sort of personal development going on in the background. So I couldn't pick just one tool, but it's my computer that I couldn't live without, because I'm constantly law of attraction. I'm in the shower, doing my good thoughts and my meditation and all of that. So having that at your fingertips is invaluable. And it's free. I mean, you pay the cable bill, but other than that, it's free.
Love it. Do you have an app or anything that you like right now?
a great question. I'm a bit of a minimalist, so I don't have a ton of apps, but the one that I truly can't live without is my Zen timer. And it just is simply a timer that does a chime, and you do your meditation. You set it for any amount of time you want, and I absolutely love it because it forces me to actually meditate, because when I pull up my phone, I'm like, yeah, it's right there. Got to do it.
Very, very cool. Now, Bonnie, we love to leave our listeners with 3 simple tips that they can take away right now in their life and business and actually implement. And I'm excited because of your coaching background. I know you're going to have amazing things to share with everybody. So let's get stuck into that. What are 3 simple things that people can do to better their lives?
Okay, so I've been studying this for 18 years, and I've read hundreds of books. I have 9 certifications. I've worked with the best in the world. It truly boils down to three simple things. Number 1, know what you want. That's very, very important. So many people don't know, or they think they know, or they tell you what they don't want, but you truly have to know exactly what you want. Number 2, believe that you can have it. And that part is really, really important. Believing it, seeing it, imagining how you'll feel when you have it. And number 3, taking massive action. There's no substitute for hustle and for really just doing whatever it takes to make a goal happen. And I believe, and I've proven, that if you have the clarity of what you want, you believe you can have it, and you take action, you truly can create anything you want in life.
Very cool, very cool. I love that, and I think I learned that a long time ago too, and it just stands true. And the people that are successful in getting where they want certainly do follow those 3 principles. So yes, and you're a testament to it as well. I know you're one of those little dogs that you get an idea and bang, you're away, and that's it. Next thing we know, you're on the other side of the country doing stuff that we're like, what? But that's what you want to do. So that's awesome. What's one thing that people may not know about you?
I have to tell the truth.
Yeah, most people. You can say most people. We may know about it. You can tell the world.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm going to give an honest answer, because most things that people don't know about me you can find out on my videos or on YouTube, or I've talked about in training. So I've done an Ironman, I'm an author, all those things. I'm obsessed with my dog. But one thing that's a little embarrassing to admit is that I get obsessed with reality TV, or not reality, I get obsessed with TV series, and I really have a crush on the character in them. So right now I'm a little bit obsessed with Jack Bauer. I had never seen 24 before 2 weeks ago, because I had been banned from it, because my best friend knows this about me, and she's like, just don't ever watch that show. And then I got food poisoning over 4th of July, and it's been something to try to wean myself off of that. So that is one secret that that people probably wouldn't know about me, but I feel like it's so valuable in my life, because I work so hard and I talk and I give so much. It's the way I can kind of check out and recharge. So I love you, Jack. Watching. I'm kidding.
Did you go back to the start of the series, or have you just joined in with the latest series that's on?
No, that's another thing, that I have to do things in sequential order. So I started with season 1, episode 1, and I'm on 4 now. So that's the one thing.
I love it. Bonnie, now you called yourself a serial entrepreneur, and when I met you, you had sold a business, and you bought yourself your dream car. And I remember that we were walking around in Sausalito, north of San Francisco, and I was really fascinated with how you had sold a business and just your mind around business. And now on the side, you also have another business, don't you, called Dirty Dog. So tell us a little bit about Dirty Dog, and what is it, and what does it do?
I do. I do. I love Dirty Dog. So my mind is constantly thinking of ideas. I'll be on the subway and there's an idea for a show. There's a good book title. So a few years ago when I inherited, can we bring Ginger on the show?
Sure.
Ginger. Special appearance. So this is Ginger, and about 4 years ago, I inherited her. I had no knowledge of how to take care of a pet, nothing. But the one thing that I noticed is that they were quite dirty. And one day I was hiking up in the hills, and I was talking with my girlfriend, and we said, oh, we should just go to the pet store and get that hand sanitizer for their paws. And so I went after our hike, and unfortunately they didn't have any. So the lady looked at me like I was crazy, and then I went to another pet store and another one, and then I went home and I went online and I started researching, and there truly wasn't any product like that, which to me seemed crazy. So fast forward a couple years, one of the certifications I have is a holistic health practitioner. So I did some testing and I created a formula that's safe and effective at killing germs and bacteria, and hence Dirty Dog. So now we have the antibacterial spray, shampoo, conditioner, candles, and I own the patent on the formula, and we're basically talking to larger companies like Johnson & Johnson and Burt's Bees and any others that may be watching that want to license it, but basically to take the formula and create the antibacterial spray for their product line. So it's been interesting. It's a very different type of business than we're used to, the more infopreneur, online, seminar business. So it's been fun learning the ropes and learning how that is done.
So you basically went into your kitchen, got out a few bits and pieces with your friend who was a holistic practitioner and started mixing some potions together and found out the one that works. How do you test that sort of stuff?
I did. I actually was the holistic health practitioner, so I had a cabinet full. I did a ton of research online, again back to my favorite tool, the computer. But I did a ton of research on what essential oils. Everything is all natural and all organic. So what essential oils were antimicrobial, antibacterial, safe for dogs. And interestingly, and I believe so much in synchronicity and fate and destiny, but ginger, this little nut, ginger is the #1 antibacterial product available, so the actual ginger root. So I thought that was a massive sign that I should be doing this as a business. So for the first couple of years, I actually made it every morning in my Vitamixer. So I would mix up the formula. I had it tested. I sent it to an animal hospital that does product testing, and they did clinical trials, veterinary toxicology testing, and it passed, and it was proven to actually kill germs and bacteria. So again, it's a very interesting process. People are like, it's been 3 years. Why haven't you sold a lot of it? And it's like, wow, there are so many things that you have to do and hoops you have to jump through and regulations and so forth, but we're 95% of the way there.
What's kept your focus on that? Like you said, there's a lot of hoops, and a lot of people will get stuck at those blocks, or they'll say that's all too hard and give up. And usually they are 95% close to achieving what they got to do, but they don't know where the finish line is, so they say, oh, that's it, it's too hard. What's been the motivating factor to keep you going through that?
There's two, really. The first, and again, I'll be brutally honest, like the first is that there was always so much pain attached to it. Like I've invested so much money into it, I can't fail. And if I fail, for me it felt like, what's the point? Because I put so much into, in my mind, there was never anything else to come after it that I would put that much into. So if I fail at this, what's the point? Might as well just go work at Kinko's, it doesn't matter. So there was that factor, and then there was also the little factor of times like when I couldn't pay the bills if I didn't make it work. So I would need $2,500 to pay the patent attorney, and the rent would be $2,500. So I would pay the patent attorney, and then I'd be like, I don't know, I'm just gonna coach until 4 in the morning until So I had to make it work. But then there's another part, and I don't know so much how to quantify this or teach it, and we've all heard it. I've heard it for 18 years since I've been in this industry, but for some reason I just got it, where you literally do have to push through anything. So now when a challenge comes up, it's almost like my reaction is actually physically, systemically different, to the point of like, I've had some really big breaks with Dirty Dog, and I've had some massive disappointments, like massive, where I got on Shark Tank, and I was through the second round, and then I got cut. I won an infomercial, and the infomercial ran, and it totally flopped on Animal Planet. I was picked up by this company that did the Snuggie, and they did testing for 6 months, and they were just about to launch it. They were doing mall testing, and they dropped us. And then I had an agent that was going to all these massive companies, and literally, like, there was a 6-month gap in where we were talking with them. I got the patent finalized. 2 days later, they dropped me. So, like, these things that you're just like, oh, my God. And I just laughed. Like, I literally was like, okay, someone better. Maybe I'll get one of these direct companies myself and won't have to pay them the 30%. Like my mind goes to a different place, whereas before I feel like I had to take effort to do that. Like you get the crash and then you pull yourself up with your skills. Now somehow I've learned, and I think it's from watching all the successful entrepreneurs that we've been around, it's like their mind just works differently, and I've somehow been able to emulate that and just look at what else, what's next, what could be better, instead of, you know, anything else. Nothing else matters.
That's great. You know, and is there a as you're going through those blocks, or just in general right now, is there a mantra or a quote that you like to live by?
Yes. So one of the practices I do every morning is I play the clip from Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness when he's with his little son, and it says, "Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't do something. If you want something, go get it, period." And that is my mantra. Even if I'm having a bad day or I miss my train or whatever, I just keep that going through my head. And it's so powerful. I think that honestly has been behind the shift that I've had recently of just that whole mindset, because it's so true in life. If you want something, you have to go get it. Don't let anyone tell you you can't have it. So that's my favorite mantra.
I like that one too. Bonnie, what do you ultimately want to be known for?
Professionally, I want to be a bigger brand. I want to scale, or not even want. I'm working on scaling the corporate training. This time next year, I want to have 4 clients like I have with my financial company. And maybe even a little more. I love what I'm doing there, and I'd like to add something a little sexier, like maybe a social media company or something a little more fun and hip and young. I definitely want to be on a TV show. I would love to be on a Rachel Ray or some sort of show where I have a segment doing my coaching so I can reach a wide audience. I want to be a mommy. That's a big goal for me. And I want to be known as like the most amazing mom ever. So those are the personal goals. I always say in this next year, I have 4 M's. I want to be a mommy, I want my man, I want muscles, which is the fitness goal, and I want to become a millionaire. And so I have that criteria on my, in my closet. I see it every day when I get dressed. It doesn't have to come in any order. It just has to come by my 43rd birthday. I'm 41 right now, so I have like a year and 2 months to do it all. But I'm such a believer too. Like there's 3 of those that I can control, and then the 4th, the man, I really don't. But I'm gonna go all out, period, until I have as many of those 4 things as possible.
I love it. Hey, you've traveled the world a lot. You've been around around the world many times and stuff. Do you have a favorite? Memory or a favorite event or anything that happened on those travels that you want to share with us? Anything that stands out? Anything that stands out? You said, I had a great time in this country because of whatever reason it was. Or you're like, no, I'm not going to tell you any of that.
I have so many. So truly, honestly and truly, so I just came back from a trip to Turkey in June. I went sailing in Turkey for 11 days, and it was with 19 of my best friends from San Francisco, and it was amazing. Every second of it. I came back and people were like, "How did you guys all get along?" Whatever. I'm like, "Not issues. Like it was just we just love each other. We're fun." So the question people always say, like, "What's your favorite place? What's the favorite thing you've done?" It's never the thing or the place. It's the people. I mean, I could just cite off so many times, like you in chemos with the pie and leaning over the railing because I ate too much of the chemo pie. I mean, that still makes me laugh to this day. I can just think of that in a yoga class or whatever, and it makes me giggle. With Heather, I don't know why I have this memory of being in Lahaina, and we were at this. It was like a back. We were near Kobe's Steakhouse. We were like this little back open-air place. I don't even know why we were there. And we were having a drink, and we were just talking about our lives, like how our lives were going to become. And I just remember that. I don't even remember what we were talking about. Some sort of nonsense goals I'm sure we've achieved. But I always remember the times, and it's hard. Like one of the biggest challenges of New York is I didn't have friends I still just have a handful, and they're amazing. But we've been so blessed in that we kind of have been a family, all of us. We travel in droves of people, and that's what it is for me. I mean, we could be in a ballroom in San Jose, but if it's with the right people and we're just cracking up and having a great time, that's what life's all about.
That's funny.
Funny.
The only reason I ask is because I saw a video clip this morning, and you were in Hawaii with us, and when we were paddling out with the whales, and the whales come under our boat. And I saw this video clip today of these guys in, I think it was Argentina, who are paddling with the whales, and the whales come up and lifted them out of the water on their boat, on their kayak. And I'm like, wow, that was almost us. I'm glad it wasn't us. Nothing happened. They didn't get hurt or tipped off. The whale just lifted them up and then dropped them back in, and it was like, whoa, that was, and that brought back memories, because I think you've got the video still of that day. I don't know where, I don't know why I haven't got it, but I know that you've got the video, and every time I see whales in the water, I think of that day.
I know. Some of the things, you forget. Like, you get busy with your life and you go back into, Heather said she lives in suburbia, and now I'm living, I'm detached from that world for the most part. And I know you are too. You're, family, you've got 2 kids. But it's funny, some of the things, like, you live vicariously through Facebook. When I go home and I see my friends from high school, they're like, oh my God, and you were out with the whales, and then you ate all that pie, and, and I'm like, normal now, but they watch these things that we've been so blessed to do so many things on it, you're in Dubai, you're here, you're there, but not that we ever took it for granted, but it just becomes, it's a choice we made to have these interesting and amazing lives, and it is so much fun to look back at that stuff and, and just go, wow, I guess that is pretty out of the ordinary, not average.
Bonnie, there's this video that's floating around. I think it's still on YouTube. Do you remember when you used to do my best friend cult? There's a video where you have asked me for advice, and every now and again somebody says, oh, I saw you on this weird video on YouTube where this blonde girl was asking you for advice. I think it was around relationships or something. Do you remember that?
Oh my God, that is the one thing about the internet that I don't love. Those things come back to haunt you. But hey. Gotta start somewhere.
That's it.
Oh man, what's one huge life lesson that you've learned along the way?
Life lesson. There's so many. Just be happy. I swear, it like whatever you can do to make yourself happy is the secret. And that's going to be different things for different people. But I mean, so much of life, especially when you're in the world we're in and you're seeking and you're growing, you're constantly, people are always coaching you, you're like, what's wrong with me? And then you just take a breath and you're like, wow, life is pretty amazing. And, that gratitude goes with that, being grateful for what you have. But I think that is the biggest key, and it makes everything else fine. Like, it makes everything else great. And just laughing as much as you possibly can.
Love it. Bonnie, we've had lots of laughs with you over the times, and it's great to reconnect with you on Make It Simple TV. H, as we get to the top of the hour, where can people find out more about you?
They can come to my website, which is bonnieandbruderer.com. And
we'll put that link in the show notes so people can click on that from our page. But anyway, is there anywhere else that they can find out more about you? Just your website?
Yeah, my website is the best place. I am on Facebook. I think you have the links. I don't really tweet. I'm not a twerp. I just learned that word this week. Those are people that tweet. But I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. And, yeah, reach out. I would love to hear from your viewers. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'd love to coach people and answer questions. So would love to hear from you.
Bonnie, are you actually actively taking on more coaching clients? Do you have room in your schedule for that?
I do, yeah. So I have, the corporate business that I do, and then I have about 10 to 12 private clients that I see. And so those are always constantly rotating. So if anyone is interested in coaching, I would love to be able to work with you and help you achieve your goals.
Very cool. All right, as we start to wrap up, I'm going to leave first with you, Bonnie. Do you have any last words for our viewers?
My last words are going to be the same as my mantra, is just you want something, go get it, period.
Cool. And Andrew, what about you?
No, I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule. I know it's probably it's a Thursday night for you. It's probably happening down the local bar or wine shop somewhere down there in funky New York. So thanks for taking the time out to share your story with us, Bonnie. It's great to connect with you again, as always. So thank you.
Thank you. Oh, it's been an honor and a privilege to see you guys again. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Bonnie. And now everybody who's listening, what we want you to do next is come on over to makeitsimple.tv. We're here on episode number 17. Please let us know what you thought about this show and Bonnie's 3 simple tips. Plus, we have Bonnie's links there so you can pop on over to her website and say hello to her there. Again, makeitsimple.tv. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.